Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. My name is Richard LaRocco. I'm an intuitive medium. I am here with Pauline Raffaella, author, Akashic record reader, Reiki master, healer. And we are here. We have a great topic today. We're taking your calls here live. So if you want to call in, I'm going to give you the number. It's also in the description, 646-558-8656. And the meeting ID is 820-252-05181. So when you do call, it will go to kind of you're on hold, and we will let you in as soon as we can take your call. Again, if you have questions for Pauline, you have questions for myself, we're on the topic, whatever it may be, we're here for you. So, Pauline, happy Thursday. How are you?
Happy Thursday, Richard. Happy rainy Thursday, but it's one of those days that you could just stay in your sweats and not even go out of the house if you don't have to. I'm good. How are
Oh,
you?
those days for comfy clothes are my favorite. Love
Yes.
it, especially when it is chilly out. Well, we're very overcast here. Our weather is very similar. But on Long Island, I know it's raining and in the low 50s and things like that. So um, we're out of and I preference some of the energetic stuff going on, the eclipse, you name it, the earthquake. I know we're still in, what is it, Mercury and the microwave and the Aries and this and that. So before we start on our topic, do you want to kind of maybe just give anybody kind of what's going on energetically, like a little brief little tidbit, if you
Sure.
choose?
Sure. I mean, knowing some of the astrological placements and what the energy is bringing has been very helpful to people because it kind of helps them make sense of what they're feeling or what they're going through. And so, yes, the eclipse is over, the earthquakes are over, but the energy of the eclipse, especially this last one, April 8th, it's going to last until the end of this year. It'll sort of show itself in 3, 6, 9 month intervals. And energy is beginning to shift and change, and it's beginning to speed up. Have you noticed that, Richard? That
Absolutely.
things have begun to
Absolutely.
speed up. Now, for people personally, like I did two classes on abundance after the eclipse. People were telling me, "Oh my God, it's like abundance is just like coming to me, and I'm just expecting it now, and it's coming in faster and faster." And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's still a little feeling of where am I going? How am I going to get there? What's going to happen? Kind of uncertainty. But if you're staying in the present moment and you keep doing what you need to do day to day, week to week, month to month, you're going to find that like your life and the things that you're trying to manifest and heal are actually going to speed up. Now,
I love
we also have a Mercury retrograde, which I'm not going to look at the end date. It might be in end of May or June. It's a long Mercury retrograde. So this is a time usually when relationships can break up, when business deals can fall apart. This is a time when we say something we don't quite mean. It didn't come out right, and we've hurt somebody's feelings or they've hurt ours. This is a time when things typically end. And I may have said this in another show. It's also a time when somebody from the past can come back, usually for some type of additional healing, not necessarily to rekindle. So
mm.
the retrogrades are always showing us what still needs a little bit of healing.
So, Pauline, real quick, it's March 18th through May 13th.
Oh,
Is the
okay.
Mercury retrograde in Aries?
Okay. Okay. So we're only at the end of April. We've got a few more weeks, right? So we've got like 3 more weeks of the retrograde, which
Yep.
this is a long retrograde.
Oh,
So
wait. The next one is even longer. So it's the next one is July 16th through September 11th. And it's a Mercury retrograde in Leo and Virgo.
So, all right. So, oh, just hold on to your hats. That's all I can say. We'll talk about that and deal with that as we get closer, because I have to check my Planets Today app and take a look at what is going on there. That's a lot of fire. That's a lot of fire in retrograde. So stay cool, calm, collected, and grounded.
Yeah. 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 It's one of those that you better hold on because it's going to be
Right.
crazy.
But one of the things
Especially,
I want to say though is don't fear this. Like, don't fear the
Hmm.
retrograde. Everything's going to happen the way it needs to happen, you know? And if people fall out of your away out of your life, then do your healing work and let it be.
You know what's interesting with that? So up until I would say somewhat recent, and it was last year, again, you know me, astrology is not my wheelhouse. I talk to dead people. That's my thing. That's my seat on the bus. I am very happy sitting there with my little old man newspaper, kind of reading the Times, like whatever, right? That's my seat on the bus.
You're the best.
And it wasn't until last year that there was a retrograde that really kind of like affected me. So I kind of did a little deep dive. Apparently, when I was born was also during a retrograde. So I said, it's never really affecting me. Everybody else is kind of going a little nuts. And, for me, maybe some electronical stuff, but like technology, but other than that, nothing. It wasn't until I guess where it was placed or the planet aligned really messed things up. Everything, communication, opportunities, things, places I was supposed to go and do events, didn't, we had to cancel because of this or that or what. It was all over the place. And what I realized though, throughout all of it, is everything still happens in divine order,
Yes, it
right?
does.
So how we respond, we need to be more of like a shock absorber in a car. So if the road is smooth, we don't have to do that much work. If we go over a bumpy road, we kind of have to be fluid, right? We're going to keep using this word until like the wheels come off, Pauline.
Yeah, yep, until everybody becomes fluid.
Fluid. Yeah. And it's one of those things that, so no matter what comes your way, understanding you're going through what you're going through. Yes. Is it, and, energetically kind of like disrupted by planetary alignment, things going on, but that doesn't have to change here and here. We
Right.
still have to have the understanding that no matter what life throws at us, understand, identify, and then release.
Yes.
The
Yes.
release and then move
It,
on.
and yes, be willing to go with the flow, be fluid, be willing to understand what's happening. Yes. And accept it so that you can move forward, because it's all about moving forward. Life is all about moving forward. And so we have to do whatever healing work we have to do, and whatever changes come in and disrupt the status quo, right? Nobody likes that. No one likes that.
Nobody.
But you can get used to it. You can get used to it. When change comes in, you can change your perception of that. Instead of thinking, oh my God, this is so bad, this is so horrible, say, oh, okay, I guess things are changing again and change is good and I'm ready. Right? Perception, how we view it. Doesn't mean it's always easy, right? Doesn't mean it's easy, but we can, I am in numerology. It's another little thing I do. So in numerology, I am a 5. I'm a numerology 5, life path 5. And
Mm,
when I was first told that, I said, so what does that mean? I'm a 5. I was like, well, 5 is the number of change. So when you see 55, 555, this is change, change, change. And so I was told a long time ago, you're a numerology 5. You had better start getting used to life changing and changing and changing and changing. If you want to keep things in the status quo, in the nice and neat little cubby hole, the safe cubby hole, they said it's not going to happen. So I changed my perception of change. And I said, okay, I've got to get used to this. I've got to be okay with it rather than resist it.
I love that. I love that. And you know, we're kind of talking about all of this and change and embracing it and becoming fluid. Another thing that, and I do want to talk, so we're here live every Thursday at 3 p.m. If for whatever reason you do miss one of the episodes, you can go back live in the feed, and you can rewatch it. Also, you can go to Spotify at Guided by Spirit, which will be uploaded tonight. And you can listen to this. So we got a lot of people that go walking and doing things, and they listen to us, especially at work. They put their earbuds in. They love listening to the show. So please, if you like on Spotify, follow, tell people, also spread the word. And if you feel compelled, on the Facebook feed, there's a little thing where you can do stars. Please feel free to send some stars. That just kind of helps keep this little engine that could moving. Again, we are very thankful and appreciative for all of the support, however they may be. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have some comments coming in from Yvonne. Hi, Pauline and Richard.
Hi,
Um,
Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne. And then we have Sheila. Hello, Richard and Pauline. Hi, Sheila. Hopefully, you're having an amazing day. Continue to send healing energy to Brent. Excuse me, allergies. Went walking today. Oh, my goodness. And then we have Bardal Barboa.
Oh,
Barboa?
no, Barbara, Barbara. She's one of my little angels.
Oh my goodness. So she is saying hi. She's saying great show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, little angel. Then we have Ricky. Hi, nice to see you. Hi, Ricky. Nice to see you. And it's Barbara. She said Barbara here. Barbara hee hee. Sorry. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. And then we have Meryl. Meryl's commenting, and she sent some stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Meryl.
Thank you,
I
Meryl.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Meryl. I know who
Um,
Meryl is. I think I know who Meryl is.
Oh
Hi,
my goodness,
Meryl.
Meryl is an amazing, beautiful soul. I am very thankful. I know Meryl. She's amazing. So thank you, Meryl. So we're kind of talking about, I know we were talking about being fluid and how astrology can happen to us. Everything can happen, but it doesn't have to take over our life. We can move forward. And one of the things I also really wanted to talk about, Pauline, because you and I are real kind of experts on this,
Mhm.
and it's in your book, The Little Blue Room, which you can buy on Amazon. I feel like I'm talking to Lynn. The dimes, divine dimes. You can find it on Amazon. Anyway, always going to shout out to Lynn, showing much love, always, every moment, every way. Um,
Always.
anyway, so healing healing. So a lot of us walk through life with stuff, physical, mental, emotional. We're in accidents. We're in diagnoses comes up. And understanding, just like when a retrograde comes, how we can kind of work through. And I know there's a lot that happened with you. And that was a lot of the premise of your book,
Mhm.
the healing journeys, understanding, tapping
Yes.
into the subconscious, allowing yourself to start taking steps forward. I always like to use the term, Pauline, coming to your own rescue.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Most people who deal with life, who have issues going on, whether it is self-inflicted, environmental, or a trauma base, never come to their own rescue. They don't allow.
Becoming a self-advocate. Yes. And I love that. Coming to your own rescue. That connects to the last show where I read the poem that I wrote in the beginning of the book, right? And it really is to my, my beloved at the time. And so, no matter how much you love someone, they cannot be your everything. And so it's impossible. And so we have to fill in those pieces ourselves. What others cannot give us, we must learn to fill that in ourselves. And some of that has to do with internal fears.
No, I love that. So I just want us to, Merrill said thank you. We also have Naya Craft Medium. She's saying hello. We also have more stars. Thank you, Deborah Starr, for sending stars. I truly appreciate it.
Hi,
Um,
Nanaya. I love you.
so
Hi,
one of the things also I want to talk about too is let's dive really deep into this because I want people to understand a lot of times for me in 2019, I was in a horrible car accident and my world was instantly changed. Okay. Things that I took for granted, like tying my shoes, pouring a bowl of cereal, all of these simple things
Mhm.
were kind of changed instantly. And one of the things that I really had to struggle with was maintaining one, positive mental attitude, understanding
Mhm.
that I had to be very mindful, not to be scared or fear, operate from a place of fear. So we're going to kind of dive into this if you don't mind, because I think this would
Sure.
really help our audience allow them and give themselves permission to rescue themselves, start healing,
Mhm.
moving forward to do what their soul is meant to do in this physical life. Because what we were doing and what we're supposed to do, everything again happens in divine order,
Right.
right? So, Pauline, if you don't mind, because it's in the book, let's kind of talk about what obstacles did the universe place in your way to kind of like get your attention.
Mhm. Well, I had to become, excuse Venus, Venus wants some fame. Uh, I had to look very deeply into myself. I had to look at the life I was creating. I had to look of course, what was good and what I perceived to be not so good. And why was it that way? And in my introspection into myself, right? This had nothing to do with anybody else. As I always say, becoming empowered has nothing to do with anybody else, right? It's an inside job. So it has everything to do with all the ways in which you love yourself.
Hmm.
So, one of the things I became very aware of was subconscious fears. Now, most people know what they're afraid of. Oh, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of somebody I love dying. I'm afraid of getting ill. I'm afraid of being in a car accident, right? People have normal human fears. And that's part of our journey to heal. But the other piece of that was very interesting, and it is on page 126 in my book. And I talk about facing the fears. And one of the ways that you have to look at fear is, so let's just say you're afraid, people don't realize that they're actually afraid of being wealthy. And so, people want to be, but they're afraid of it. So let's just take a look at some of those deeper fears. Well, the fears of not being wealthy or the fears of not having enough prosperity or having all of your needs met, those are obvious, right? The fear of not having enough food, not paying your mortgage, all of those are obvious. But what about the fears of actually having it? What about the fears of actually having some wealth more than you have? People don't realize that there's fears to having it. How would you feel? People say, I would feel great. Okay, but would you feel guilty? Would you feel like you had too much? Would you fear that you had too much money, too much power, and use it wrongly? When we look at power in the world and we look at wealth in the world, we can get a negative vibration from it. Therefore, developing some subconscious fear about having it and therefore not manifesting it and not creating it.
Hmm.
And that applies to health because if you have been unhealthy and you have had people caretaking you, what would be the fear of being healthy? Well, then maybe you're not getting the same degree of attention and love that you perceive that you have. And so it's a very deep exercise to really do this, to look at the fears of having something, the fear of not having something. And it's a very deep exploration, but it is deeply healing. And as I did that with so many aspects in my life, I became very neutral. I didn't have a fear one way or the other. I became very neutral. And that was a big key in my transformation, was dealing with fears. Does that make
Very
sense,
nice.
Richard?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, also, was there any physical, or was it more emotional, or was it what type of things were you encountering, where you had to kind of like work through this?
I had to work through truly the fear of loving myself.
Mm,
Because if I learned to love me, then would that mean that I would be alone? That I wouldn't have people to love me? And the answer is no, not at all. In fact, you learn how to love in a healthy way.
mhm.
And so there was also fear of becoming evolved.
Hmm.
There was a fear of becoming evolved because what if I evolved so much that no one could relate to me?
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
there's so many, this is one of my specialties. You could call me the shadow queen, but I'm really not a shadow queen, but you could because this is one of my strengths that I see very, very deeply the into the energy field of the ego, which is
Mm,
fear based. And so I had health challenges. I did not fear getting well because I hated asking people to help me. So I personally did not fear getting well, and I did get well very quickly. But we have fears in terms of love, being loved, not being loved. There's so many fears, and so like I'm touching briefly upon a few different areas that I work deeply in, and I was able to see within myself and within clients. And
so
yeah.
I don't want to cut you off, but let's kind of dive into this a little because I feel like for me, when I went through my healing process, if I did not have a lot of the understanding already of how things work and how non-attachment and I'm not going to own it, no paralysis through analysis, right? We get stuck because we want answers we don't understand, or we subscribe to fear which holds us back. Or
Hmm.
here's another one. So I want to touch on the fear component because I find a lot of people get scared. They don't want to get better. They don't want to. And again, when I
Well, they
say
want
that,
they want to, but
everybody wants to
subconsciously
get
they're
better,
afraid of it. Yes.
but on a subconscious level, again, you and I were talking about this. What comes with getting better? Accountability, things moving forward, not relying on people,
Right.
or codependency on whatever form, whether it's mental, emotional, financial, physical, however that looks.
Right.
So let's kind of take a little dive into the fear component, because a lot of the audience today walks with something, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We all can kind of raise our hands on this. So, one is let's kind of help some of the audience understand a little and break through on a couple of simple barriers that hold us back from our healing process. And if you do want to hold up your book so people can see, so that when they purchase it on Amazon, the little blue room. And also here, I should have had them down already. You can go to Amazon. I have Hurting to Healing from Hurting to Healing Publications and Love Your Shadow Self.
Oh,
It's not that you got to understand, most people that are doing the shadow work, they do not have the self-love like you talked about.
right.
But this will help you be kind, be gentle. It is a prompted journal. It is prompted to help you and guide you and assist you along the way. So I really recommend getting Pauline's book, checking out on Amazon The Little Blue Room and Love Your Shadow Self. Also, Hurting to Healing, The Journey Back to Self. So all prompted journals, and then Pauline's book. Anyway, sorry.
No,
Um,
no,
but I
no,
wanted to
I love
talk
that.
about this because this is major stuff. When people go through things, they're held back for things that our subconscious creates as why we can't heal our self. Excuses on all levels. I can't because this doctor is not ready. I can't because I can't afford to eat healthy. I can't be mindful. I gotta find a way, or whatever it is. So let's talk about fear, because you mentioned it a lot.
Fear is part of the ego structure. It's part of being human. I think the key is to, are we ever going to heal 100% of all the fears? No. But how we deal with it, how we deal with it is, that's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, most people have a fear of public speaking. I did. I was terrified. I was terrified. And now look what I do. But I had to work through all the fears of not doing it and the fears of doing it. And I had to work through that. And that was all connected to self-esteem or lack of self-esteem or not feeling good enough. So these fears are in us. And just imagine, though, what it would be like to be able to dissolve a fear very quickly, even in terms of healing yourself, having more prosperity, having the right love in your life, even healing the fears of living life right now on earth with all this chaos. Imagine feeling at peace or an extremely low level of fear in life right now. Now, this is all possible if you're courageous enough to dig into yourself. And this is a quote in my book. It doesn't come from me. It came from my ex-husband, who I am still very friendly with and close with. And he said, conquer, one day we were just talking and he just blurted out, conquer your fears and you will know who you are. So conquer your fears and you will know who you are, because your true self begins to emerge when the fears have dissipated.
Mm,
Imagine living life without having so much fear, or very little to none.
mm. And like you said, fear is fueled by ego. And when we are fluid, we understand that everything does happen in divine order and that we have nothing to worry about, because we are all guided and directed, whether we understand it or not, in a way that is meant to serve our highest and best.
Yes, yes.
To kind of piggyback on that quote, that, you had just mentioned is opportunity introduces a person to themselves.
The journey of self-discovery. There's nothing greater. There's nothing more magnificent. There's nothing more challenging. There's nothing that can bring this degree of inner peace, self-love, self-worth, the ability to manifest and create the life that you want than this.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's lots of people who are great manifestors and they're manifesting all kinds of things, but other areas of the life are very much in lack.
Yeah.
And, it's just stuff that we have to deal with when we're here. So,
Pauline,
yep.
I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're
Go ahead,
not.
please. No, no. Because I really want to get into what the fear holds us back. And most people, I don't know if this is your understanding, do not give themselves permission to heal. So let's kind of like talk about why would somebody be fearful? What dynamic does that or power or stronghold does that hold? And if you have some excerpts from the book, let's kind of talk about that too. Oh, and Sheila did comment. She just purchased your book. She says, great read. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
And if anyone is inclined, please, write a review on Amazon. It does help to spread the word. The algorithms on Amazon, it shows up more for people to find it. But I do have an excerpt from the book. It's example number 3, and it's called The Desire to Be Healthy. All right. So let's dig into this a little bit. All right. The desire to
Yes.
be healthy, because who doesn't want to be healthy? Everybody wants to be healthy. So here's what I write. I observe the fears of being healthy and the fears of not being healthy as they connect to success, failure, rejection, or abandonment. This is deep stuff, everybody. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
delved into the deeper emotions and thoughts, what fears existed within regarding health. The fear of being healthy didn't exist unless there was a health issue to begin with, which brought a secondary gain, such as attention, caretaking, and fear of releasing codependence. You said it, Richard. Okay, the fear of codependence, the fear of being independent and capable of taking care of one's own needs. That is a subconscious fear of being healthy. Believe it or not, it's a subconscious fear, because does that render us alone? Does that mean no one will ever take care of us? No, but remember, fears are part of the ego structure and they're all irrational. Okay?
I love it.
It's irrational. Okay. So the fears of being unhealthy, well, those would be more common. Okay. Of being sick, unable to live well, not having control over yourself, being a victim of life, fear of death. So, not being able to live your life the way that you want to. There is all a fear of being unhealthy. I mean, when people get a diagnosis, just as you said, like a cancer diagnosis or some other, it is natural to go into fear, because no one wants to be able to not live their life the way that they want. So that's a fear. But then we have to look at, well, what does it take for me to be healthy? I'm going to take full responsibility for myself, for my health. I have the power to heal myself of anything. If I need assistance, God is going to deliver it to me. I'm going to find the right people to help me become empowered to connect with my innate power to heal this. And we have seen this time and time again when people who have miraculously healed themselves of stage 4 cancer, Joe Dispenza healed themselves of broken vertebrae. We can do this. But we have to not be afraid of being healthy. We have to learn to step into that independent relationship with me, myself, and I, and God. And then we are empowered to do everything. And does that mean we're going to be alone? No, it means we're going to have even better love and better health than we ever could have imagined. Because we're not coming from a place of lack or brokenness. So I know this
Mm,
is really deep and I hope that everybody kind of gets it, but I mean, there's so much more to it, but if you look at the fear from both fear of having something, fear of not having something, it will bring you to a very healthy, neutral place from which you can see and be more clearly and centered.
I love that.
Fear just throws us off balance.
Well, and it's the fear of what? The unknown, the fear of like, how is this going to look? The fear of, I need the answers, the fear of, this is impacting my life. Why did this happen? I get this a lot as a medium too,
Mm-hmm.
where people literally will say, um, and I'm sure you've heard it. Oh, they were such a good person. Why did the universe take them? Or why did God take them? Why is it, why are all the negative people around? And then, why my mom was such a great person. Why take her so soon? Well, it's the fear of, when we don't understand it, we
Right.
don't have to understand. We just have to allow so that we can move on and not get stuck.
Yeah,
You
yes,
know,
it's true because this is life and there's no way to predict exactly how things are going to be at times. We're not in that degree of control, but we are in control of ourselves. We're in control of our mind and whether we choose to be fearful or not, whether we choose to heal ourselves or not, whether we choose to accept certain things that are happening and keep moving forward. We have that power. We're not powerless in that way.
we're actually never not in power. Even when the situation dictates that we are not in control, we always are in control of our thoughts, in control of our minds and our feelings, where we place our energy.
Yes.
These are very empowering things. So even though you might be, say, in the hospital, you are still in control. Even though if you don't know your diagnosis, you have to understand or wrap your mind around or control yourself from going dark or having, fear kind of take over. If you're
Yeah.
in an unhealthy relationship, you are always in control. You have the choice
Yes.
to always walk away. So yes, there are a lot of things we're always in control. Somebody commented, they healed my I healed myself from breast cancer. Well, that is absolutely unbelievable.
That is
Um,
beautiful.
that you can do that. We are our own alchemists. We are the creators. All you
Mhm.
have to understand is to one, give yourself permission, two, allow, and three, to surrender to what you are holding on to, whether it's fear based, whether it's worthy, whether it's insecurities, trauma mind, not the heal
Mhm.
brain, however that looks for you. Um, so we had this young lady heal herself of breast cancer.
That's
I'm going to be
beautiful.
very I'm going to be very transparent. Thank you, Melina. Hi. Thank you for sending stars. I appreciate you. Um, so I've been healing many as a holistic channel medium for over 25 years. Pauline knows my story. We're going to kind of get to that. Um, Real quick, 2019, I was diagnosed. I had a horrible whiplash, which caused traumatic brain injury. I had two discs that were herniated, cervical surgery. I still have three herniated discs in my back. I had arthritis that developed along my spine and total nerve damage down both legs, total neuropathy. Um, and all through a shift of consciousness, okay, asking spirit, sitting with my higher self, show me what I need to do to start my healing journey. And I put it out there to the universe. I was open. I surrendered to all that was going to be presented. If they said, Rich, go outside, eat grass, climb a tree, and lick a rock, guess who was doing it? This
Right.
guy.
And so you weren't afraid to become so independent to heal yourself in whatever capacity you needed to, because you obviously didn't want to stay in a codependent, somebody taking care of you state of being. Now, I'm not talking about an older person, obviously, who may be ill and is in need of care. But we can heal ourselves in every way. I think your story is amazing, amazing. Shift in consciousness, because what happened to your body, to the cells of your body, the moment you shifted consciousness?
Everybody followed. Everything followed.
Including your
Where
body,
thoughts
like
go,
your body was like, oh, my shift in consciousness is I need to get well. The body was like, okay, we got to catch up to the mind. The mind is
yes,
telling us to be well. I got to catch up to that.
absolutely. Remember this, everyone out there, where thoughts go, energy flows. Thoughts become things. So if we live in a prison within our mind of fear-based, trauma-based, codependency, I am not worthy, I do not deserve to be healthy. And people are like, well, who doesn't deserve that? There are many people out there, okay, that subscribe to this, okay? Especially when we start going through these issues, anxiety creeps in, depression creeps in, mental health gets put to the test, right? Especially as finances, we're not able to work. That pressure,
Right.
right, comes in, or from loved ones, from if you need now a caretaker, there's a lot of things. So for me, it was, oh no, what is this going to look like? Well, I don't know. And the neurologist said, go home and rest for 6 months. Don't do anything. Don't use your phone. Don't use the computer. Don't read a book. Heal the brain. What do I do? So I meditated, right? I sat there. I surrendered. I put it out there to the universe. And then it showed me the way, right? Showed me the way.
You started to develop that sense of self, right? And it's like I always say, the soul, the soul sits like this. When is this human going to wake up? When is this human going to wake up? So being alone the way that you were, now your soul had the opportunity to push through and begin to show you who you really are.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
would love to know the woman who said she healed herself of breast cancer. First of all, sister, beautiful, brava. I would like to know what her frame of mind was that helped her do that.
So her story. It is the Nanaya
Oh,
Craft
Lanaya.
Channel. Yep.
Okay.
So she says, her story, sending love. I have to get to work, girl. Thanks for all the great knowledge you shared. Looking forward to reading the book. And thank you too. It is nice meeting you. I know lots of love for Pauline, but I am thankful I got to kind of read your stuff and your healing, and thank you so much. I'm a channel. I've been ever since I was a child. Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
so
she took her power back. She essentially took her power back and no longer wanted to live under the radar in abuse. And she took her power. She decided enough is enough. And you know what? If that meant she had to go it alone for a while, then so be it.
yes. Well, and that's one of the things that really impacted me, was allowing myself to walk this path. And when I say I still had all the physical, I still had all the mental, I still had the emotional component to this. One of the things I did was I asked, and then I listened, and I listened with my heart space. And actually, I turned on YouTube, and there it was, clear as day, sending me a direction, telling me what to do. And it was very simple for me. I just had to allow and be fluid like a boat or a kayak going down a stream. You have to go with the current, not against the current, because you will get burned out. The water
Mm-hmm.
has infinite amount of strength and energy. We as individuals run out. So I had to become fluid and go with the flow. Once I did, my brain started clearing up. The pain that I was experiencing in my neck started to go away. The arthritis that I had developed in my spine totally was gone. The neuropathy, the burning, was started to subside and then eventually went away. I healed this neuropathy and permanent nerve damage. It's still there, but it's just now healed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there were many components to this. Also, losing 217 pounds in 1 year naturally,
I
not
just,
ice chips in
I
air.
watched you deflate. I did. I
I
watched.
did. I did. I literally did. But one of the things, I came to my own rescue. This was not going to work with me. I had to allow myself to go through the healing process. And these are very simple things you allowed. What fascinates me, and I remember from a or a past conversation, you sat in a room for 7 years, the little blue
I did.
room.
Yes. I did come out to eat and shower and go to the grocery store. I mean, I did do that.
So, well, good. I hope so.
I didn't. I wasn't in solitary confinement.
You weren't a hermit or, like kind of living there, like etching the walls, telling
Right.
like, your story, like in a 6x6, right?
Right. I
Um,
just spent most of my day in that room healing, 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 healing.
and it's similar to what I went through, not for 7 years. Actually, it was a 4 year process for me. But I kind of did the same thing. I sat with myself, I sat with my higher self, and I allowed. I
Right.
didn't force. I was the
Right.
kayak down the water. But I want to ask one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
7 years. You told me that there's a spiritual significance every 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just share that for everybody? Because I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and I was like, yeah, Pauline, 7 years. And they're like, what's 7 years? I said, I know we kind of energetically shift in 7 years or change. I don't want to misquote you. So that's why I'm going to ask for some of this
Yeah.
clarity. But the physical body rejuvenates itself over a span of 10 years, from our taste buds down to our chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual level, what happens every 7 years?
Yeah, well, the 7 year cycle is very powerful. It's like we energetically shift. We have seven main chakras. There's more chakras, but essentially
114.
yes, but from the root to the seventh chakra here is essentially the work we have to do, okay, here. And so energetically, everything happens in 7 year cycles. And I think that's why it was just 7 years. Now, it didn't completely stop after 7 years, and I'm still transforming. It's never ever ends. But the 7 years was like an impactful 7 years. It was intense and it was nonstop. And I mean, I had a younger client come when she was 18, I think it was. And I said to her, you've got 7 years of this, 7 years of this really intense transformation. And sure enough, it was 7 years before she began to really lighten up and take control and all of that. And so, and even from an herbal medicine standpoint, it is said that if you were to take an herbal regimen to heal something, every 7 years, your body will remember that healing cycle and perhaps put you into a new healing cycle, if that makes sense. So life just seems to happen in 7 years. I mean, isn't there something called like a 7 year itch when you're married or something? So 7 years, seven's a master number. So 7 years is the number of the cycles. Just know that if you're in a phase, if you're in a cycle, more than likely, and there's going to be smaller cycles, less, 6 month cycles or 1 year cycles, all within that 7 year cycle. And so I was divorced and changed. It was 2015. And it was like another 7-year cycle. And everything began to shift right at the end of that cycle, which was coming into 2022. It was about 7 years. So change happens every 7 years for us
I
energetically.
love this. I love this. So, okay, so let's kind of talk about this real fast. If one of our listeners is out there, and by the way, anybody can call in 646-558-8656. The meeting ID is 820-252-05181. So I really, if one of our listeners is out there and is in a place where they need to start embracing healing. Healing, again, mental, emotional, physical, right? What do you think should be the most, let's give the first three steps, the first three steps that they should start doing immediately to call spiritual their self 911, energetic 911, okay, not literal 911. But how do they come to their own rescue? So let's give your first three steps.
And you too. Listen, first thing we have to do is change our perception.
Mm-hmm.
You said it earlier. Step number one, change your perception of what is happening. There is something called having multiple perceptions
Mm-hmm.
of one thing that's happening. There can be 4 or 5 different perceptions of what's happening. Change your perception. Number one. For me, second one, believe you can. Believe you can do whatever it is. So, like that woman who healed herself of breast cancer, or anybody else, or Joe Dispenza, and so many other people. Even I've interviewed so many other people in the past. A man who healed himself of stage 4 prostate cancer. It's belief you can. Believe you can. And then you get the help that you need to help you stay in that vibration of, I believe I can.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3 in my book is the more you start loving yourself, the more everything disappears. Everything out of balance disappears, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, having to do with prosperity, anything else. The moment you start loving yourself and awakening that soul, that empowered self, your whole outer world is going to shift. What's
I
your
love this.
Richard?
No, I love this. I think this is, and like you said, I know two people that come right to mind that helped heal their bodies. One, her name is Michelle. She is a listener. She, amazing, beautiful soul. Got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and overcame it, and literally healed herself through shift of consciousness, diet, and lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay. Very similar to what I did. Very similar.
Yes.
Okay. And that was Michelle. And then I have another friend who has stage 4 ovarian cancer that is holding on. I believe her name is Kim. I believe it's over 7 or 8 years now. And they can't take her down. She's like an original Rocky movie. Every time they hit, she's like, that's all you got. And she keeps coming back, cut me, Mick. And then she keeps coming back. And that's kind of how she is, because of her perception is, and her worth and her value of herself and her desire to heal. And she's not prescribing to anything that the ego is saying, right?
Wonderful.
And she's allowing. So, to Michelle and to Kim, amazing stories, amazing job. Thank you for shining a light.
Yes.
But the first three things for me is that, again, I had to accept this is where I am, but I did not have to accept the outcome that they were trying to project. Okay. I had to accept where I was in that
I love
moment.
that.
I had to accept I need healing. No pride, no bravado, no kind of like pound my chest and say, here I am, I'm better than I'm so positive that I'm even not going to acknowledge. No, there's a difference, because I've had people, especially when I did a thing, and I know you did too, about the eclipse and the earthquake, you know, somebody made a comment on their page, not mentioning names, and it was like, oh, they're fear based and, saying chaos and crazy and don't subscribe to that. The world is unicorns and rainbows, and Mother Nature is just taking glitter and going like this and making it rain. Well, guess what? That is a lie to yourself. That is feeding ego, because we are avoiding, right, what we need to handle as individuals.
Yes.
Because when your health and your life is in question, you either stand up or you fold.
There's a reality. There is a reality that needs to be dealt with.
Yes,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And it's one of those things. I always say, are you a buffalo or a cow? And
Mhm.
and I've used this before, and people are like, what do you mean? Well, when there's a thunderstorm or a massive storm, the buffalo and the cow handle things very differently. Okay. The buffalo says, ooh, there's a massive storm, and runs into the storm, because what they have to do is endure the storm for a very short period of time, and then they go out the other side.
Mhm.
The cow, which operates from the fear base, runs away from the storm and eventually gets so tired that it now prolongs the pain and the suffering.
Yeah. Yes.
So I understood I'm a buffalo, right? So I sat with it and said I needed to accept it, but not accept the outcome that my fear was telling me. Two, just do it. Like the swoosh says, like the Nike swoosh, just do it. So whatever spirit shows you, just do.
Yes. Yeah. And it is that simple in concept. Yes. In
Well,
concept,
it's
it's
a
that
lot.
simple. But people just have to learn to follow more of what what the guidance that you get from spirit, and trust it and become stronger. I mean, I remember in the early days of my illnesses, yeah, I was afraid I was never going to get well again. I was terrified. I was afraid while I was going through it. But back then, I'm going back into the 1980s, early 90s, and that was right before my spiritual awakening. So
Mhm.
I did not have the spiritual foundation, but I developed it and I learned it. And I was like a dry sponge, just soaking it all in because I knew this was the answer. I mean, when I
Yes.
started studying herbal medicine, I was like, oh my God, we don't need prescription drugs. And I'm not telling people not to take them, but for me, I was looking at this saying, oh my God, look, there's herbal medicine and formulas for everything. And there is. And the future is going to be much more integrative medicine, okay, where herbal medicine and natural practices are going to be more and more incorporated into the healing process. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and I love that in the sense of, okay, so real quick, herbal medicine real fast. So my dog Gia got diagnosed with SARS. She's 9. She got diagnosed with SARS, which is an autoimmune for animals where they go instantly blind. It can affect the liver, the kidneys, it targets organs in the body. Then she also developed lymphoma. So we took her to the oncologist, and literally after they got all the diagnoses, they said basically we can give her oral chemo, but the lifespan is probably a couple of months. Okay, that was over a year ago. Now we found an integrative doctor who literally started doing acupuncture and herbs. She's on a litany. She's on about 9 herbs. which is interesting. It's a whole nother story we'll talk about, because the vet would say, Rich, here's the bottle. What does spirit tell you? And we're sitting in the vet, and I'm literally connecting. Okay, I feel like it's in my throat. So I feel like it affects the glands. I feel like this affects the head. Yes, it's for cognitive function. Why am I tummy? Oh, because it works on this. It was a whole thing.
Oh, I
Spirit
love
guided
that.
the whole healing process. And this is total truth, 1000%. Um, and with the herbs, she started to regain sight where they should only be blind. She started to feel better. Her liver count went from 4,200 down to 450. They thought she should be dead, and she is alive and well and thriving
I love that story.
all through not just her, right? But our shift of consciousness, which led to her reality.
Mhm.
We didn't give up, and she chose not to give up. With pets, they
Right.
follow whatever energy we put out.
Yes.
Um, so I just wanted to touch on that. So integrative medicine, natural medicine. Again, we are not doctors. I only played one on TV, but know that we can shift our healing. I did all of my healing through diet. People say 217 pounds. Did was it gastric bypass? And,
Hmm.
did you eat ice chips in air? And, did you exercise 9 hours a day? No, didn't exercise for about 9 months. Couldn't. Ate only meat. I know people are like, what? Only meat, no vegetables. No. I love vegetables. I love fruit. I love, love, love. I was a vegetarian and vegan many times in my life. I believe in HIMSA, to do no harm, which is, even hurting of an animal. But if I am not around, okay, I cannot help anybody else. So I started eating meat, and I removed all the inflammation, and the world opened up to me. But here's the third thing that really helped me. Anytime I was encountering something that I either had to put in my body or subject myself to, I use this one simple thing. Anybody can do it. Is it going to hurt me or heal me?
Hmm.
Hurt me or heal me? It's either good or bad, right? And if I wanted to eat something that was outside of what spirit showed me, is it going to hurt me or heal me? And I said, well, let's see. So I would take a little bite of something. Next thing you know, my back hurt. The arthritis was back. Well, guess what? It hurt. So would I rather be happy and living, not existing, living my life, or have a donut or a slice of pizza? In my case, it was pizza. That was my kryptonite, right?
My dad too, calzones.
Oh, circle of life. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, the calzone is the cousin of the pizza. Your dad and I were like, we're right here. We're thick as thieves, literally, right? Um, but I had to let that go.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it was about a year and a half well, over a year before I had a slice of pizza. Because guess what? And it didn't even taste that good. Why? Because being healthy was a better experience than that momentary weakness.
Yeah. And your body evolves. And so when you put something in it that it's going to create inflammation or digestive disturbances, you will lose your taste for it, or you can. You can. You may not, but you can. I've lost my taste for a lot of the old foods that I was brought up on.
Yeah.
Just because I can't, my body doesn't want it. It's evolving, and my body just doesn't want certain foods. They're inflammatory for me. The body
Yes. And
becomes more sensitive.
absolutely. It
Yeah.
was to the point. I mean, I went out. I remember one day I went to go eat something, broiled fish with butter and salt, and they dusted it with like breadcrumb. And I had no idea. You would have thought I was getting ready to go to the emergency room.
My
My
God.
cheeks got flush, my hands started itching, and all over like seasoned breadcrumbs misted on top,
Yeah.
like kind of like this from the gods, just kind of. And here I am all of a sudden, like, oh my God, what's going on? And that was my body saying, you became more sensitive, but this is not, it's hurting you.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and we have to be mindful of the quality of food, where we're eating and the quality of foods. And one of these days we're going to have Janice on, who's going to talk to us about glyphosates and all of the chemicals that are in the foods that are causing inflammation and other problems in the body. And so, to the best that we can get back to healthier, clean eating. As much,
Yeah.
and as much as we can.
Well, it's interesting because, my teacher, and I never understood this until I was presented with this, and she would always eat as clean as possible.
Yeah.
Any kind of meat that was maybe humanely raised or grass fed, and vegetables that were only organic, and the chemicals. And I've embraced since this journey, in healing, the journey back to self, as I like to call it, right? And starting my own healing process. One of the things I went into is a very non toxic environment, non toxic things I would put in my body, surround myself with, chemicals, things of that nature, and food. So it all works. It all works. It's amazing. And,
Yes.
and we can go on about this. So, Pauline, I just wanted to kind of put this out there. And we got stars coming in. I mostly have cravings for vegetables, now can't eat it if it doesn't have lots of greens. And if that works for your body, Barbara, that is great. That is great.
Yeah.
Pauline, you are exactly correct with the statement about herbal and natural medicine. Yes, Yvonne, we are going to be going to a lot of integrative stuff. And here's the thing with that. And what are your thoughts on this, Pauline? And then we'll kind of like segue into, what you have going on and I have going on, things like that, how people can reach out to us. Um, when you see the transition or progression from integrative medicine to natural forms or modalities of healing, body, mind, spirit, do you find it is the shift of the new earth or new consciousness that we're all being gravitated towards? Or what do you think why do you think we're going to be shifting to a lot of integrative stuff? Because if we do, here's the funny part to that. Are you ready? We're taking away clients, we're taking away customers from pharma, the doctors, the healthcare, medicine, the food industry with all the chemicals and stuff. So why do you think that there is now that shift moving forward from one to the other? Why do you think that is?
Well, it's evolution. It's pulling us away from what is unnatural, from what God does not want, and showing us what we do want, what is good for the human body, what is good for our healing. It brings out the power of the mind, body, and the soul, and it helps us live more authentically. People, listen, people want to live till they're, 100 years old, 200. If people said, look, if I said to people, I will give you this right here, and this thing right here will make you live for 200 years or 300 years, would you take it? A lot of people will take it because they want it. They want to keep living. If we return, and it is a return to a natural state of being, all right, the spirit, the soul that is housing the body, it's not the other way around. All right, the soul is housing the body. So if we keep the
Mm-hmm.
body clean, the body is the temple. And if we keep the temple clean, we have innate healing powers to overcome everything. That is the future. That is the
Mm.
future. Now, it isn't 10 years from now. It could potentially be hundreds of years from now. However, you have to start somewhere. And we are the pioneers bringing the new earth, bringing the new higher forms of living here now. And this is how it starts. I mean, I was healed through energy medicine and herbal medicine, not through traditional doctors. I went to so many doctors to help cure me. I had every instrument stuck up every orifice of my body. Nobody could determine what was wrong with me. Meanwhile, I was sick, I was skinny, my complexion was gray, I was exhausted, I couldn't sleep, I had chronic bronchitis, I had all kinds of things going on with me, chronic fatigue syndrome. And here was energy medicine. Herbal medicine came along first. And within 1 week of taking herbal medicine, I write about this in the book, within 1 week, I felt better. And then like shortly after that, I met an energy healer. And it was miraculous to me. It felt natural. I felt like I was home, Richard. I felt like I was home in the healing of energy and herbal medicine. It felt like home to my soul. It didn't feel
Got it.
artificial. It felt whole and like home. And I knew it was going to work, and it did.
Wow, that is amazing. I love it. I really think that you're right. A lot of people, if they choose to not listen, and when I tell people about my healing journey, it's very simple. I am very transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
What I did, it's not crazy. It's not, I was just conscious and mindful of not eating things that caused my body to be inflamed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I listened to myself. Meat, salt, water. That's literally what I eat.
Wow.
I eat until I'm hungry. I usually eat 1 to maybe 2 times a day. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. If I'm hungry, I eat. It's that simple,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No
Follow.
carbs, no sugar.
Yeah. You have to follow your body. Your body's talking to you,
Yeah.
and you have to thank your body every day. So if
Well,
you have an issue, you want to lose weight, you need your heart to be healthier, you need your liver to be healthier, you need your brain to start talking to your organs. It's in my book. Start talking to your organs every day, thanking them for what they're doing to keep you alive. Start making that mind-body connection through actually talking to the organ. Every organ in your body has a mind. All right, it has its own consciousness. So if you start consciously talking to it, you start making connection to it. Lo and behold, you will find that all of a sudden, maybe you feel like I need to eat more greens for some reason. Well, that might be your liver telling you I need greens, right? You may lose your taste for sugar. Heart healthy food, brain, maybe you all of a sudden feel like I need to start eating some walnuts. Walnuts are great omega-3s, great for the brain. The body will communicate and talk to you through intuition and signs. So start talking to your organs. I thank
well,
my
that's going to be
every day for functioning.
that's a whole nother topic. Listening to your body and allowing and following the signs to get to where you want to go.
Oh, good. So maybe
Right?
we talk about that next week.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we
Maybe
will.
we will. Maybe absolutely. If anybody has any comments about, what you want to hear about, I know somebody has commented on one thing or made a suggestion on a topic they would like. But if you have any topics that you would like to discuss, please leave it in the comments. Don't forget to go to Pauline's page, which is Pauline Raffaella, and you can like her page. Also, Pauline, where else can people hear about what's going on, what you're doing, how they can contact you,
Yep.
so on and so forth?
You can contact me, especially for private sessions, through my website, paulineraffaella.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Awakening of the Soul, Pauline Raffaella. I do upload different videos there, informative videos there. And you can follow me and friend me on Facebook at Pauline Raffaella. There's also the Awakening of the Soul page. I don't do too much on that these days, but I will. But just my regular Facebook page, Pauline Raffaella. Just connect with me. Connect with me there. And we are happy to talk about any topic that anybody would like a deeper dive into.
I think it's important too because there's so many things going out there. What we want to talk about, we try to allow spirit to kind of guide us in our topics. But if
Yes.
there is something that you need to help you come to your own rescue,
Mhm.
right? Whatever that is, body, mind, spirit, please let us know. Give us a call. We'll be more than happy to talk about this and get people unstuck and moving and filling their heart space.
Yeah.
You can also reach out to me at Richard LaRocco, Intuitive Medium, if you're watching here on Facebook. If not, on podcast on Spotify, please go to Facebook, guided by Richard LaRocco, Intuitive Medium, and also go to richardlarocco.com. And you can figure out or find out about all my events and how to get a hold of me. You can message me, private readings, group readings. We do have Mother's Day approaching. Mother's Day. This is a great gift for all the mothers out there to get a reading. So if you do want to connect with loved ones, or if you have a mother in spirit, please
Oh,
reach out to richardlarocco.com and book your private session, which will be like having an encounter with your loved one.
and I have clients that have booked sessions with you since we've all started this, and they absolutely love Richard. They love you. I mean, they have said things to me like, it's exactly what I needed to hear. Richard's amazing. He's spot on.
Well,
He's
thank
amazing.
you.
And it's true.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You know what? And I just try to do and bring through the essence of the loved one and just allow. Just allow.
It's beautiful. And that is with all the things I do, that is not really it's not what I do. So I do other things. So we need you to help us do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments, all of the little things, the stars, the hearts, the love. Lots of love. So I really appreciate this. We've had so many people looking at who is watching and all these things and who liked. It's really impactful. Again, if there's a topic you want to talk about, please feel free and let's start the ball rolling. Let's get the
Yes.
healing happening. Let's get you living your life. Let's get you unstuck. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to tell everybody have a great weekend, great rest of the week, but great weekend,
Yes.
um, and much love.
And thank you all. Thank you all for your support and your stars and sending you so much love from the divine heart.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.